What's up, guys? How are you? Welcome into a Wednesday morning episode of the Daily Juice Podcast with me, Matt Perrault at Sports Talk Matt. The handle to follow me across all socials. This podcast being brought to you by OmahaSteaks.com. I very much thank them for their sponsorship of this podcast, given where I am right now. Very, very cold. As cold as the steaks will arrive to be put in your freezer. From OmahaSteaks.com during their semi-annual sale, you get 50% off site-wide right now, plus an additional $30 off with the promo code JUICE in the search bar for OmahaSteaks.com. Okay. When I talk about the bad times, I think people might gloss over it and say, "Oh yeah, but you're always winning, right?" No. No. Losing is part of this. It doesn't make it better. It doesn't make it more fun. I know you guys are mad. I'm mad. You lose money. I lose money. I'm in this with you guys, okay? So, I'm watching the account get drained. I'm watching the losses. 229. That's what the Suns game fell. There were 75 points scored in the third quarter combined. That game was going way under. I mean, way under. It's the anomalies of sports betting which makes this so difficult, right? It's the 26-yard missed field goal. It's a 75-point third quarter. Things that you don't see coming, and that's why we love sports. Because every time we watch a game, something unbelievable might happen. Like Kevin Durant having the ball stolen from him and watching the Spurs beat the Suns on the road. Unbelievable. That's an awful choke job. But the Suns stopped playing defense. That was always going to be a fear. Any under involving the Suns is a fear. But, I mean, my gosh, it fell 229. We bet under 227. Had a good number. Still didn't come in. Hockey, well, good old-fashioned goalie change halfway through the day. Soros doesn't play. If he plays, that game probably goes under. It was a 5-2 final. It was 4-2 for the whole third period until an open net goal. And we don't survive the open net. Could have had a push on the 6. Instead, we get a loss on a 5-2 final. When you run hot, you get the breaks. When you run cold, you do not. There's no excuses for this. It's been a bad 5 days. It's been a very, very bad 5 days. We've given back a lot of units. We were up, we had the cushion, luckily, okay, in terms of what the podcast was, but, losing's losing. So I only have 2 bets. Generally speaking, if I was not working for the Daily Juice, I would not be betting today, okay? I would just take the day to clear my head and just get away from the board. This is what I do. I don't know how you guys handle losing streaks, but how I handle losing streaks, I tend to get away from it. I'm not seeing the board right. It's clear, okay? I'm not using the right information. I'm not seeing things right. I'm just off, okay? I've been on the wrong side of far too many bets over the last 5 days with just 1 or 2 plays going against me. Now, it will change, okay? But that's why this is a marathon. And for those of you who parachute in and get pissed off and parachute out, I understand why, okay? I get it. Because you haven't seen the good times. You think this is awful. Now, if you're fading me, which, again, I don't mind if you guys do. Don't be jerks about it. But if you fade it, I get it, okay? When I'm cold, my job is to make you guys money in any way. If I'm losing to make you money, I'm totally cool with that, okay? I'm completely comfortable if that's what you guys are doing. Some of you tell me, some of you don't, and that's fine, okay? I mean, this podcast gets watched and listened to over 10,000 times every single day. So I don't hear from all of you, obviously, all over the world. You guys are watching, listening. I appreciate all of it. In the good times and the bad times, I appreciate you guys watching and listening to the Daily Juice podcast. So 2 bets, okay? I'm not touching baseball. I have no idea what to do with it, except I would say bet the Rangers, but okay. I don't know what to do with the NBA. I will live bet the NBA. I live bet I had over 211.5 last night in the Suns game, so that cashed. I took the under in the Knicks and the Cavaliers game. That cashed. If you want to bet it again here tonight, the same 2 teams are playing again, just different venue. They're playing in New York. You could say, rinse and repeat and take the under in that game, but not going to do that. you want to do a 2-leg money line parlay. Celtics Bucks money line parlay is minus 130. You can do that if you want. That's not a horrible play. Okay, I'll have a bunch of personal plays, but I officially not touching baseball, and I'm not touching the NBA. I am touching college football and the NHL. Let's start with college football. The total for Ball State Bowling Green is 40, and yet the road dog is catching 6 points. Whenever that happens, my ears prick up, and I go, interesting. Can Ball State score? Can Bowling Green score on Ball State's defense? I'm not sure, but I've done fairly well in college football this year. It's been my best sport so far, and when it's the high temperature is going to be around 35, 40 degrees. It's not going to be awful weather, but it's not going to be pleasant, okay, in Bowling Green, Kentucky. And you have a quarterback rotation for Ball State that's a little bit concerning, okay? It's a little bit concerning as to who's going to play quarterback here, but really it's about their defense. This team for Ball State, they've played some pretty tough opponents so far this year, all right? They played Kentucky and Georgia to start the year. Their defense didn't fare all that poorly. They did give up 44 and 45 points, but the defense wasn't awful. They beat Indiana State. They lost to Georgia Southern badly. That was probably the worst loss of the year. But then the other losses that they've had, they've played, relatively well. They've fought their way through here. Bowling Green is not great in November, ATS-wise. Historically speaking, in conference play in November, this is when Bowling Green starts to suffer a little bit. And with a total of 40, which a game I think will wind up going under, this is dog and under. This is just going back to the basics for me, okay? This is going back to, how did we win? How have we won? You go back to the things you've been attracted to in the past, and that's looking at a game with a total now of 39.5, and yet it's +6 for Ball State on the road at Bowling Green. I think Bowling Green will have a tough time running the football. I think Ball State can hold them down. But again, you want to fade this? You want to take Bowling Green? I'm not going to be angry with you at all here, but it's a MACtion game. I've done fairly well in college football. Falcons may look like the better team on paper, but I think Bowling Green can I think Ball State can keep this close with Bowling Green. I like the Cardinals. Keep it close. Low scoring game. Don't mind the underplay either, but right now, I'm running too cold. I can't bet overs and unders in any sport right now. I can't do it. Under is a fine play. If you don't want to take +6, you want to bet under 39 or under 40, don't hate it, okay? But officially, I'm taking Ball State +6 for 1.1 units. Now, the other bet, Sabres Flyers, TNT, nationally televised game. Sabres, Flyers, pick 'em. Flyers are at home. They're 3-2 at home. Sabres are on the road. They're 1-2 on the road. Luukkonen's in net. Now, again, this burned me yesterday, and this is projected, expected. If Luukkonen's not in net, again, like I told you last night, okay, I would punt out of it. Hopefully you guys saw the goalie change with Nashville and Saros not playing, and you punted out of it. I really can't do that. I want to do that, but I've tried to do that before in the past, and it really isn't fair because not all of you guys are on the Discord channel. Not all of you guys listen to my other show. Not all of you guys follow me on Twitter. You watch the podcast, and I give you the advice of, hey, if there's a goalie change, get out of it, but betting overnight has its pros. The goalie situation is definitely one of the cons, all right? So if you see anybody else in net besides Luukkonen for Buffalo, Luukkonen shut out the Colorado Avalanche. He's playing incredibly well. If he's not in net, do not make this bet, okay? I've made this bet because I have to assume that the reports are correct that Luukkonen will play in net for the Buffalo Sabres. That should tell you kind of where I'm going here. I like Buffalo to beat the Flyers here, money line, -110, no juice, road, coin flip, if you will, in some ways. That 4-0 victory, though, really impressive. The last 2 road games for the Sabres, 6-4 and 5-4. 1 win, 1 loss. You want to bet the over this game? Go ahead, but 6.5 over is minus 130, minus 135. It's extremely expensive. Number should be 7, most likely. Again, if I was betting it and I was hot, I'd play the over, all right? Go ahead and bet the over, but because I'm not, and I could very well not be seeing this, Carter Hart might play out of his mind. He's got a 2.30 goals against average. Maybe he's tremendous tonight, and it's a 2-1 hockey game. You know, I mean, we've seen crazier things, I guess, with these teams playing. Buffalo is 4-5 on the year in the Atlantic Division, 4-1 for Philadelphia in the Metro. First meeting of the year here, Luukkonen against Carter Hart. I'm going to take the hotter team. I think Buffalo's the hotter team. It's a hell of a win for a young hockey team to beat the Colorado Avalanche and to get a shutout out of Luukkonen 4-0. I'm taking Buffalo, 1.1 units, money line, Sabres to win. That's shootout, that's overtime, that's everything. Sabres to beat the Flyers here for 1.1 units. Again, you want to take the home Flyers, you want to fade this, I'm not going to be mad at you, okay? The most I can lose today is 2.2 units, and that's really what I'm going to be banking on here, is just to slowly try to stop the bleeding and not dig a hole so deep that I can't get out of it at all here, okay? It's the 1st of November. It's a new month, turning the page, hopefully getting off to a good start. Let's have a 2-0 night. Let's win a couple of units back, and let's get going here for the month of November. Bad loss. Bad ending to October. I'll do some accounting for the podcast tomorrow. I'll tell you what we went in October, the official record as to what we wound up finishing, up or down. My guess is we might have been down for the month because of what just happened, but we'll see how catastrophic that 5-day stretch was to end the month. Did it ruin the entire month? It very well might have ruined the entire month, but we'll see. Sabres money line, Ball State +6. 2 bets. Both minus 110 for 1.1 units. My name is Matt Perrault. Follow me on social media at Sports Talk Matt every single morning. The Daily Juice Podcast being brought to you by OmahaSteaks.com.